A major report around Bill Belichick has dropped in the last half day or so, and we're going to talk about it here on Patriots Today by Chat Sports. I am Harrison Graham. Tom Curran reporting that Robert Kraft has already decided to move on from Belichick at season's end. I'm going to break this down. We'll bring Rolly in, his lifelong Patriots fan, as well as, obviously, if this is the case, that would be significant for a franchise that's had the same head coach for about 2 decades. And hey, this is the perfect time to subscribe. We're trying to get to 7,000 subscribers by Christmas. And if you want to be up to date with all of the latest Bill Belichick news, rumors, potential coaching change, we've got you covered. Hit that subscribe button so you never are out of the loop with anything surrounding the New England Patriots. So let's dive into Curran's report here. He said, when they came out of the loss in Germany, conversations I had that week made it very clear that a decision was made. They were going to play out the string, and at the end of the year, there would be a parting of the ways for a variety of reasons. And look, it's obviously been kind of felt, and there had been other reports that it could head this way. And look, Tom Curran saying this does not mean that it's officially official. We got to wait for the rest of the season to play out until it does become official with the story like this. But look, to actually hear it be reported in this fashion feels pretty massive. And obviously, if it does happen, it is massive, regardless of what side of the coin you're on. If you want to keep Belichick or move on, this is all a lot of Patriots fans have known. Like, if you're in your early 20s, all you've known is Bill Belichick as your head coach. So this is definitely a massive deal if Robert Kraft does decide to go in this direction. And if you can remember, we talked about this on Patriots Today. Alber Breer reported, I think leading up to that Germany game, if I remember correct, Rolly, that it wasn't 100% certain that Kraft wouldn't fire Belichick midseason. Now, I think that ship has sailed. They're going to play out the final month here, but it seems like for at least maybe half the season now, Robert Kraft either has decided or at least has been trending and feeling in the direction of a change is needed at head coach in New England.
Yeah, like you mentioned with that report on Alber Breer, like I was almost convinced. I'm being dead serious. I really did believe that there was a 10% chance maybe that he was going to be fired in that long break between the Germany game against the Colts and their next game, because they did have a bye the following week after. Just the way that went down in Germany, with Mac Jones being the guy who played the entire game, and then with 2 minutes left, the Patriots get the ball back, down by 4, looking to go win a ball game, and you put Bailey Zappi in, it just felt like there was so many things going wrong. That game was a disaster. It almost felt like it was guaranteed to where he would be getting moved on from. Now and then you get to see this quote today, where it came out last evening with Curran, and it's like, I guess we're really heading in that direction.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, you can think it's going that way, it feels like it's going that way, and sure, until it's official, we don't know for sure, but like, now that it kind of feels like that's where this thing is heading, yeah, I do think it's probably for the best, but that doesn't mean it still doesn't feel weird and still doesn't feel conflicting. I mean, Bill Belichick has brought this team 6 championships. You know, you could debate Belichick, Brady, who was more impactful till the cows come home, but make no mistake, I mean, you've had stability at the top of your organization for 2 decades now, so moving on from that is absolutely significant, even if it is the right decision to make. So let me ask you this. Will Bill Belichick be the Patriots coach in 2024? Type Y for yes, type in for no. I haven't thought he would be for a while. I feel even more strongly in that sentiment. I do think a change is coming after this season, which is what Rolly and I's take is. Like, it feels like it's over. And I guess I just hope for Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft is that this can be some kind of clean parting of ways, because it was already a little ugly with Tom Brady, as him and Belichick clearly weren't getting along at the end there, and I think Kraft was conflicted by that. You would hate for that to happen again, this time with Kraft and Belichick, and have like a 5-year period of where not only was it an ugly breakup with Tom Brady, which I think that's been mostly, repaired. Brady's been back to New England, Foxborough, etc. But you'd hate that to be the case with Belichick too, where a few years are a little bit of a sticky situation. So we'll see what happens. More to discuss on this front as we progress here. But I do want to shout out our sponsor, Prize Picks. Daily fantasy made easy with Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use our code CLNS to get a deposit match up to $100. Basketball season is fully underway, so you can start playing daily fantasy like every single night. But if you want to stick to your NFL grind, here's what we like this week. 2 players, 2 quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, both going more on their passing yards this week. Both these quarterbacks have been cooking. The Bills seem to have turned a corner with that win over the Chiefs. The Ravens have been good all year. This is $10 entry to win 30, 20 to win 60, however much you want to put in, 3 times your money if you do connect on both picks there. You can win up to 25 times your money with the 6-player entry. The more players you do, the more you can win, up to 6 players. So prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use our code CLNS on today's show to get a $100 deposit when you sign up. Okay, Belichick was asked about his future today because Curran is pretty reliable when he puts this information out there. Now, he did kind of go on McAfee and said, unless they change their mind, I feel like kind of protect himself a little bit, but still, I don't think he would have put it out there unless there was a lot of buzz around it. Evan Laser had this sequence here. Bill Belichick wouldn't comment on his future with the team when asked multiple questions about his job status. He said, getting ready for Kansas City. The classic Belichick, Rolly. We're on to KC, baby. Let's get win number 4.
I mean, listen, they ask him this question, and, what is he supposed to say,
I know.
right?
I'm leaving after this year.
Yeah, he's not.
That would be awesome.
Yeah,
though.
that would have been something, but he's not going to do that. So he's going to go classic Belichick, say getting ready for Kansas City. But you and I both said this basically earlier in the show, and we both feel this sentiment as we head into Week 15. Feels like the end is near.
Yeah.
Love it or hate it, it just feels like a split is going to happen. The way that Belichick coaches feels like it's worn out in New England. And listen, Dan Orlovsky went on ESPN today and said that he still thinks Belichick's a Super Bowl caliber coach. I also agree with that. What he's done with the defense this season has been nothing short of spectacular, considering he's lost Christian Gonzalez, who was on track to be Defensive Rookie of the Year, and his best defensive player heading into the season, and Matthew Judon. Yet this is still a top 5 defense, maybe top 10 if you think top 5 is too aggressive. But they've also been the best defense against the run this season. What he's done is phenomenal. The problem is offense.
Yeah.
But you can blame him maybe not for that, but you also can because he's the GM and he puts the offense together.
I think you have to blame him for 2 reasons. One, what you just said, he's the GM, and he's had brutal draft after draft in recent years when it comes to offense. And 2, I don't ever like it when head coaches are shielded from the side of the ball they don't specialize in. You're the head coach. You have say with the offense, even if you're not an offensive guy. And it even applies more to Belichick because, to what we just said, he is the GM. He does make the personnel decisions. So, I think if there was a scenario where he wanted to give up GM duties and have a new GM come in and have say on who's going to run the offense, yes, I still think he can be a high-level coach. But that also just feels more likely elsewhere. I don't think he's going to take a demotion to stay on as the coach in New England. My prediction, he's the head coach somewhere else next season. I think there are teams that would like to bring him on. I don't think he'll be a GM, but I do think he'll be coaching somewhere. Here's Dan Graziano on Bill Belichick's status. Grazia of ESPN, obviously. Whether it's team owner Robert Kraft's decision to move on, Belichick's decision to step away, or a mutual decision between the 2 parties, there is a growing belief around the NFL that someone besides Belichick will be coaching the team in 2024. And I agree. And if teams are vying for Belichick's service, I think that that could be a good fit for both sides. Let him coach somewhere else. And Graziano added this too. He said, make no mistake, it's ugly right now. People I've spoken to with the organization point a miserable picture. And this is what I don't like hearing, Rolly. Look, it's not that surprising. Bill Belichick has an ego. Robert Kraft has an ego. No one's excited with how this thing has trended. Obviously, we talked about the ugly breakup with Brady. You'd like this thing to be a clean ending, but in reality, it's probably not going to be that way.
And it would be sad to see it end so ugly, like you mentioned. I can only hope that Robert Kraft will try to stay and keep that relationship at least positive with Bill Belichick, even if they do mutually split up. But it's crazy to mention. You said it. Early 20-year-olds like myself, I'm 23. I haven't known anything else but Bill Belichick. And when we go into 2024, there is a very high possibility, at least as things stand right now, that on the sideline, there will be no Tom Brady or Bill Belichick for the first time in 23 years. It's unbelievable to think about, but I think it's got to happen. As bad as it sounds, call me a spoiled 23-year-old Patriots fan all you want. But the way the seasons have gone the past few years and how bad the offense has been, and really over the last 5 years, how bad acquiring offensive talent has been, I think it's time for a clean slate. You just got to move on.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen here. And speaking of which, we're going to run it back with some Bill Belichick replacements. Our updated list of candidates that could replace Belichick in New England. So stay tuned for that, as Rolly and I will be back to break down those names tomorrow, as it does appear that the Bill Belichick era could be coming to an end. All right, Patriots fans, appreciate everybody for tuning in to today's show. If you made it to the end of the video, hit the like button, comment, subscribe as well. We'll be back tomorrow with some Bill Belichick replacements, so stay tuned for that.